So I don't really drink anymore. And when I say drink, I'm talking about beer, alcohol, you know. Don't really drink anymore. But tonight, I had to before starting the recording here. This is Who's That Driver, episode 22. And now, when I say I don't drink much anymore, my tolerance was pretty alright after a few years. But I can already hear my accent coming out, my Massachusetts accent coming out. All I drank, and I had food beforehand, so I thought I'd be pretty okay. All I drank were 2 cans of Bush. Now, Bush and Bush Light are barely different. I like knowing the alcohol by volume percentage of everything I drink. I used to be really into like knowing all that when I would have IPAs, double IPAs, regular beer, ales, you name it. So Budweiser is 5%, Bud Light is 4.2. Now, regular Bush is the same as Bud Light, and then Bush Light is like 3.8. So the fact that two Bush beers gave me a little buzz is crazy. That means I've slacked off. My tolerance has dipped, which is fine because I don't really like drinking beer too much anymore anyway, but I'm feeling good tonight. I've got a good guest. You might have seen him do an episode about a year ago with Tristan Grace on the McBasket cast. I've been holding off on having this man come on because of that episode, but it was about time. MOT is in their 13th season of Cup. I've been racing over there. I've been having to deal with this man over there on Monday nights. So please welcome, without further ado, Tate Dorcey. What's up, Tate?
Oh, just chilling.
Just chilling Friday night, just hanging out.
Yep, got some sprint car racing, some football going on, checking in on those occasionally.
Yeah, so you have a FloRacing subscription, right? You watch the Flow races a lot.
I do. I love it.
Would you? How many nights a week would you say you were watching racing?
Probably at least four on average. It's a real problem, but it's so accessible and so fun.
So I had a coworker at a previous job, and he was talking about getting Flow, but he would always tell me, he's like, oh, it's like 120 a year, and I don't know how much I'll be watching it. So it's like, yeah, like I get that, but so you watch it enough that it's worth it.
Yep, yeah, that's because every year I'm like, man, do I really need to spend that? And then I think I'm like, man, I spend way more money than that just watching races and some of my favorite series to watch are exclusively on Flow, so that's pretty nice to be able to tune into all their races because they have like midweek races, they have weekend races, they got it all.
How many years have you been a Flow subscriber?
I just renewed in September for the World 100, and this is my third year. So
Okay. Have you seen any guys from the late model stuff or whatnot kind of run any ARCA or truck starts yet? I know there's been a few like young kids that have been making debuts in ARCA since they like turned 15 or whatever the minimum age is
yeah,
for ARCA.
that Tristan McKee, I was telling people about him. I was like, he looks pretty good. Um, Brent Cruz has ran some stuff. He was mostly on dirt a few years ago, and I was like, this kid's pretty good. And I didn't really see him a whole lot because he started doing more midget racing, I think. And then I saw his name popping up for ARCA and all that, and I was like, I mean, he's good on the dirt, and it'll take a bit to figure out. Corey Day he's super fun to watch just because he's crazy. he's he just puts that thing on the fence and lets it eat, and just flies around the top of all these tracks and big old sliders. It's fun to watch him though because like I've watched him in sprint racing, which is like you get a run on a guy, you take that, you slide in front, go about your way, and it doesn't really work on like that on the pavement. And he's like slowed down, and he's gotten in less wrecks. I feel like in the sprint cars because I feel like he's slowed down because he's always just 110%, and it's easy to slip a tire over the cushion and flip it or something. But he still has his wrecks, but I feel like he's slowed down, and gotten better. So
He's young too, right? He's what, 19, 20?
something like that, yeah.
Yeah, he's young.
But yeah, there's a few other ones that I see that I'm like, oh man, this is some of these guys are pretty good.
Well,
Obviously, Kevin's kid Keelan, but
yeah, and I know until this year we had Brendan Queen, who was like a staple in the late models, who's made it up to ARCA and now is rumored to be maybe one of the Ram drivers for trucks next year, which will be cool to see. Because I think Brendan,
yeah,
he might be a little late to the party, kind of like Greg Biffle was. He's 28, but I still think he could, maybe if he gets the right cards dealt, you could see him as a truck lifer or maybe an Xfinity lifer at this point.
oh yeah, I can see it. I like the way he drives. Same with like Carson Quapple. I like the way they race. It's just the Cars Tour, the way that you have to race in there. It's really good racecraft, and they don't tear their stuff up.
So, talking about lifers, I feel like there's more opportunities for guys to, they either get to trucks, and if they just want to hang out in trucks, they can hang out in trucks, or if they want to, they get to Xfinity, they hang out in Xfinity, because it's so hard to get in the Cup now, and the car is so hard to drive, and it's such a tight field now, the way it is for now. Hopefully it changes and it can spread out a little bit in a few years, but the way it is right now, it's very tight. You can see a lot more consistent guys at the top in Xfinity and trucks. In trucks, we've got Ben Rhodes, who, he did run some Xfinity for Junior way back when he was like 18, and
Oh,
then
oh, there it
and then he went to trucks, and he hasn't gone back to Xfinity or anything. I think he's just comfortable at ThorSport, considering it's in Wisconsin or whatnot. And then you've got Crafton, obviously, who was in trucks pretty much his whole career. Never even tried to go full-time Xfinity or anything. And it sounds like he's on the way out. And then in Xfinity, one guy who I'm curious, and I know we have Brandon Jones, who's been in Xfinity forever too. But one guy I'm curious if is on the same path as Brandon is Sammy Smith, because Sammy, he was with Gibbs that 1 year, and then he went to Junior, but I haven't seen him really have a chance to win much. So I wonder if he might be an Xfinity lifer like Brandon Jones. What do you think?
I could see it because he's been having good runs recently, but I don't know. It's kind of like Sam Mayer. I feel like he was like almost there, like where people like might take a shot with him in Cup, but it's just like that little extra. I think a lot of it is just like tearing up the stuff because I don't think the Cup garage really likes guys that are gonna run 10th and end up wrecking their stuff. And it's like I think they all have speed, but Sammy hasn't shown like he doesn't go out there and just dominate a race every once in a while. I feel like Jesse Love, he gets up front and he kind of shows that he's got speed. Carson Hosfar was the same thing. He just gets up front and it's like, oh dang, this kid's fast. And not that Sam or Sammy aren't, but I feel like they just don't have those moments often enough for Cup teams, at least now because it's so tight and they have so many drivers that need spots and not enough spots. But
Yeah, and one driver that I'm looking forward to watching next year, assuming he sticks with Gibbs. I don't know if they've announced that he's coming back or not. William Sawalich. I mean, he had probably the worst first half of a rookie season ever. I mean, it
yeah,
was it was so bad that he didn't even have a chance to make the playoffs. That's how bad it was. But like the last month or so, I've seen him. He's alive at the end of the races, and he's practically top five in most of them. And he was really good in ARCA. But I mean, who isn't good in ARCA? I mean, it's usually like two or three guys, if that. So
yeah. If you got the right car, you're good in ARCA. But yeah, no, he's been impressive because I kind of wrote him off like, oh, this dude's only good if he's leading. Like as soon as he has to have any bit of racecraft, he falls apart. But he seems to kind of figured something out lately.
all right on. Well, so let's get into a little bit of you. I don't I don't remember how much you talked about in Tristan's podcast. It was a year ago. I maybe could have gone back and watched it, but I also figured, what the hell. So we'll just start off with what got you into motorsports, who your first favorite driver was, who it is now if it's changed, and then your favorite form of racing.
Yeah, so um, my dad would watch racing. So I just remember being 6 when he was watching NASCAR or something. So not knowing who to pick, I was like, well, I'm 6 years old. I'll just pick the 6 car, and next year I'll pick the 7 car and whatever. But it stopped at the 6 car. Huge Mark Martin fan ever since I was 6. Yeah, I just picked him because I was 6 years old, and I said, I don't know, that car looks cool. And I wasn't like super invested. It's just if I'd look up and he was winning, I'd be excited and then go back to whatever I was doing. But just kind of stuck with him, and obviously he had really good runs through the early 2000s with um, I just forgot. Oh, Roush. I was thinking
How
RFK. I was like,
could you
that's not what it was.
forget? Come
I was
on.
thinking RFK. I was like, it wasn't RFK, but yeah, really good runs with Roush, and that was always fun. So and he kind of started hopping around. So always been enjoyed Fords mainly because of that. So we went to Chevy and had to be okay with Chevys. Hopefully Sam Cruz isn't hearing this. Doesn't even know I'm okay with Chevys, but but yeah, he retired. Um, I kind of was on and off watching NASCAR for a while, and then it's like, well, I kind of always like Carl Edwards. He's another Roush driver, and Kevin Harvick, and I was like, maybe one of them. I'm not really sure. And then Carl retired, and I was like, well, I guess we're gonna go with Kevin here. So throw all my eggs into the Kevin Harvick basket, and then he retired. So now I kind of just root for a lot of people, but I don't really have a driver that I'm attached to super big. I enjoy when Josh Berry does well, but that's pretty rare. So we just take those moments when we get them. But
Yeah.
I like good racing. As far as good racing goes, I really love 410 sprint cars on dirt tracks. They're fantastic. If anyone's listening and hasn't ever gone and watched them, get out there and watch them. But my favorite is the dirt super late models. Um, I like full bodied cars, I guess, and just the things those guys do. They're sending it. They're 3 and 4 wide on restarts, and sometimes dicing through traffic. It's very enjoyable. Every once in a while, you get a stinker of a race if it rubbers up or something, or the track is too dry. But usually, those guys are putting on a show almost every night of the week. So I kind of go back and forth watching the super late models and the sprint cars, but those are both on the dirt. I just like dirt racing quite a bit, but those are probably my favorite. The super late models for sure is got to be the favorite form of racing.
Which Mark Martin scheme was it? Was it the Valvoline or the Viagra?
It was the Viagra. Yeah. So
So
growing
early.
up, yeah, early 2000s. So it was like 2001 when um, I was introduced to it, and then my parents always laughed because I would draw pictures of race cars, and my favorite one had Viagra. I didn't know what it was, so I'd be making Viagra cars in school or something,
You
not
get your
knowing why
parents
everyone was
called
laughing.
in. Why is your son drawing pictures of cars with Viagra on it?
Yeah, so it's fun, but
Anyone that's coming up in the ranks that you're looking to see how they develop in the future?
been watching Keelan. Um, he's still young enough that I can't tell if it's just he's in the best equipment or if he's really that good. But I mean, he looks like he's really good. But if you have the best car, it's easy to look good. So
Mm-hmm.
he's there. Yeah, Carson Quapple, Brennan Queen, they're kind of getting close to making it, but they've been fun. And then I haven't seen much from him lately, but there's this kid named Max Reeves, and I
I've heard the
think
name.
yeah, I think Bobby Labonte like has worked. I don't know how he knows him, if it's like family friend or just likes the kid, but he's like worked with him a lot and kind of given him some tips, which is obviously Bobby's pretty good race car driver. So I've seen Max driving and some stuff. I think he's done ARCA a few times. It's like he looks like he's got some skills behind the wheel.
Yeah, it seems like it for a few years now. It's been like, oh, this new guy's coming up. Like we had Ty Gibbs, then we had Sam Mayer, then we had somebody else. Now we have Zilich. You know, they've been hailing Zilich, but Zilich looks great because he's already great on the road courses. You know, like Ty Gibbs was the
Yeah.
same way. But Silich I think might be better on the ovals than Ty was. I'm not really sure. It's hard to tell even with Xfinity,
Yeah,
but
I think so though. But
I'd say as far as like really young guys that still have a couple years to go until they get to ARCA, I'm really looking forward to seeing how Brexton does, Brexton Bush.
Yeah,
And then I don't follow them, but I know there's Cash Boyer and Owen Larson. I think
yeah,
they're like 8 or 9 or something like that. They're a little younger than Brexton, but I don't really follow
yeah.
them much, so I don't really hear about them.
No, I see posts on Twitter or X sometimes about them winning, which is fairly often, but or at least Owen. I think Owen wins quite a bit. But Brexton's another one. Them like it looks like he's really good. Obviously, his dad and his uncle are pretty dang good, but also he has the best equipment. So it's like I kind of want to see him get in a crap car and start at the back, and even if he
Yeah,
doesn't win, see how he does. But the other one is that Tristan McKee. Spire, I think, is investing pretty heavily in his future. It seems like, and
right.
he seems like he's kind of figuring it out. So
Yeah, I didn't even know who he was. I had heard of Max Reeves before I heard of Tristan McKee, and then I
oh
think
yeah,
Joseph Shrigley tweeted out like, "Oh, Tristan McKee turned 15. He's making a start at the Glen or whatever." And the kid like either he put it on pole, I think, and he almost won or something, but or he did
yeah. I
win.
think I think he did. I think there's some wrecking of the leaders that happened, but he did win. So
All right,
right
yeah,
place, right time, and he wasn't the one that got wrecked. So
yeah. The biggest thing I look for these new guys is how much respect are they going to have because it's become such a commonplace for these guys to just be rough and wreck each other out of the way. You get a few guys here and there like Taylor Gray. Taylor Gray doesn't want to wreck people to win, which I respect the hell out of Taylor Gray for that.
yeah, I like
Curious
it.
if his brother Tanner will ever make it out of trucks or not. I'm not sure if he's got that little extra bit to get out of trucks.
Yeah, I don't know. Taylor seemed like he got better once he went to Xfinity too. He's got like a lot of speed. I just like the way he drives. I'm a little disappointed he hasn't won yet because it's like he's kind of like Ty and Cup. It's like how have you not? Like it's gonna come, but obviously Ty's still winless. So it's like maybe Taylor's just a always close but never gets the win kind of guy. But
Oh, I think that's Sheldon Creed, but I mean, he's got
yeah,
what,
Taylor,
15 second place
yeah,
finishes now, they said. I mean,
yeah,
good lord. They might as well. Where's Mike Joy when you need him to come out and be like, "Okay, so these are all the drivers. This is how many
yeah,
second place finishes every driver has regardless of if they've won or not." And it's like watch, it's like Sheldon Creed probably has more second place finishes than someone who's won 10 Xfinity races. I guarantee it.
oh yeah. At this point too, it's like I don't even know if I want Sheldon to win. Not because I don't like him, just it's so fun that you have 15. It's not fun for him probably, but it's like that's insane that you've done this 15 times or whatever. Like you've not gotten lucky with a flat tire for the leader once. Like what are the odds?
Yeah, there was what was it, Martinsville a year or two ago. He should have won, but he was pinballing off Austin Hill or something like that.
Yeah, I think it broke his car and then everyone gets mad at him. It's like I mean, the dude got drove through and then everyone drives through everyone else. Like it's I love Martinsville, but that's track every time I watch that race, I'm like, maybe the Xfinity doesn't need a race here. This is
Yeah, that's like
this is bad.
they have more shenanigans at Martinsville than they do Bristol.
Yeah.
So maybe they should just go to Richmond instead. More go to Richmond twice for Xfinity. All right, well, let's dive into NR 2003. That's what you're known for. So, well, we'll start off with the quick answer question, which is how did you get into NR and when?
So when I was growing up, I had NR 2002, so I like had known about that for a while. I didn't know about NR 2003, but I knew there was a game like it. Um, but I went to like college and kind of moved around and never really had a computer. I tried on my laptop once to get NR 2003 to work, but I didn't really know what I was doing. So I was running like 5 frames a second because I didn't have the settings right or the patch or anything. um, but then I got married in March of 2020, right before COVID hit. And then we got a house and everything. So I got a cheap computer and got NR downloaded. And I think it's in like October, November was around where I had it in I think July or June. And October, November, I was like I'd heard about online racing, but I've never done it. So I was just looking it up, and then I found a post by Jess Hanna that he's kind of retired now. Sometimes he races, but he runs Mondays to Thunder, so or used to. Now Matt does it. If Matt's listening, he's gonna be pissed I said that, but it's fine.
Time to get banned again.
Yep. But yeah, I saw a post. I just messaged them, and just literally the first one I saw, and joined Mott, and then if you do get Keith on, you can ask him about my first race. I'm sure he'll have some thoughts about it. So
Well, technically, the question's for you.
yeah, my well, so I had raced like AI like everyone does, and obviously you can kind of send it in on the AI and they move. You can bump them a little bit. And I don't know if it was my very first race, but it was my first in the Cup Series at Slinger, and I was leading, and I got tight. Keith slid under me, and then in my brain I was like, well, he's down low. He's obviously going to go too fast. And the way the AI are, I can just send it in underneath him, bump him out of the way. Well, it's Keith, and he doesn't make a mistake. And I just drove through him, like wrecked me and him. I'm sure I wrecked other people. Lost him the race. It was like the last corner. Someone else won. I messaged him immediately afterwards, like, I'm so sorry. And he said he cursed me, and then I had bad things happen to me for like a year after that. I'd be like leading, my car would blow up, and it's like, damn it,
Put the
Keith.
voodoo on you. You had a voodoo doll.
Yeah, he didn't let that one go for a while, so but it
Were,
was fun. That's how we learn.
were you number 6 in that start, or were you under a different number?
I was number 6, yeah, but
Okay.
was not taken when I joined, so that was nice.
Yeah. Um, it's funny the whole number thing. You pick 6 because you actually like Mark Martin. I picked 6 because that number font looks cool. I'm gonna use that. So I had picked that font out. I think 2018 or early
Oh, nice.
2018 was when I started running that number font. Yeah. Um. So yeah, it's funny. Like I used it pretty primarily. We never really like came across each other, and then I think I stopped using it at one league that you were in, and all of a sudden, like, I noticed, wait, Tate runs this number everywhere. I was like, damn, I think I made a mistake. I gave up my number. But
Yeah, if it's available, I'll snag it up usually.
there's a few other numbers that I've used in the past that I've wanted to run, but I can't. For example, the 9. Damn you, Randall. Why you got to run the 9? You used to run 24, Randall. Come on now. Um, but yeah, 9. Like even when I came in, like I kind of wanted to run the 9, and Jessica Shelton I think would run it all the time at NNSCRA, so couldn't run it there. There was another guy who would run it at some other leagues, so I was like, man, like people like Casey Kane too. Like what the hell? Like I had no idea. Well, Jessica liked Bill Elliott, but I like Casey Kane, and I like the Evernham font. So I wanted to run 9, but I rarely ever could. So then I ended up running 19. Would run the 19 for a bit. Only other number I've really run a lot, I guess, would be the 5. I was running the 5 for a bit at Bomb Squad. Kind of want to go back to running the 5 and run Kyle Busch schemes with it, but I don't know. At this point, I feel like Bobby Allison would cycle between numbers during his career. He was the 12, then he was the 15, then the 16, then he was the 22, then he went back to the 12. He was all over the place with the numbers.
Yeah, numbers are fun until you realize you gotta paint a new car, and it's like, do I really want to do that?
Now, other numbers you've run, I've seen you in 46 and 96. Have there been any others that you've run?
Um, in fuel, I haven't actually run a race with it yet, but I claimed 66 because someone sniped 6 from me.
At
Uh,
Davi,
yeah, and I'm
Davi
like,
snagged it.
man, that's fine because it's fair. But I'm like, dude, you barely even race here, but it's fine. I'm not bitter about it. Yeah, but um, yeah, 46 I just started doing because Kevin Harvick, Mark Martin. So I was like, well, I guess that one makes sense. And then 96 because I didn't really like 66, so 96 was basically 2 6s, just one upside down.
Okay, yeah. Yes, I would say funny thing is like I kind of want to move away from the 6 and fast, but at the same time I drive for Randall, so it's like the funny thing, like oh the 6 and the 9, 69, yeah, funny.
Oh, nice,
So
nice.
it's like
Now it could
yeah,
be 6-7.
6, 7, yeah, good lord. Um, one number I've thought about changing to is like 28 because I really like the Robert Yates font. Um, but I also the 42 is like the same kind of font. It's the Haviland font, really. It's not really the Robert Yates font. This was more like the Haviland font. So I've been running 42 a bit at Bomb Squad. So I'm not sure. I'm like so indecisive. It's like I picked a number based off the font. I never picked a number based off the driver. So the funny thing is I would run 18 and run Kyle Busch schemes, but the one league I'd run it at, it's taken. So I might go back to running the 5. I don't know. Right now I've been running the 42 over there at Bomb Squad, but I might go back and run the 5. I don't know. Kind of wanted to run the 99 at some point, but I haven't. I just haven't
Oh,
done it.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, my wife likes the number 5 a lot, so I've thought about switching, but I have no emotional attachment to it other than her, so which is a good reason. But then I think about race cars, and I'm like, Kyle Larson's all right, but never really liked someone in the 5 car. Not enough to be like, ooh, 5.
yeah, it's funny. Like I see guys like yourself, you've got your 6 and your self-made Valvoline scheme, I assume. You got
Yep.
Keith runs his 82. What the hell's on that again?
Mountain Ops,
Mountain
usually.
Ops. Yeah. So he's got that, the black and orange. He runs that everywhere.
Yep.
Randall obviously will run the 9 with like the Chase Elliott scheme. So it's like there's a lot of guys that have like identities with like a number and a scheme, and I was always envious of that, but then at the same time I have so much like I don't know if it's ADHD or what with numbers, but it's like I just like changing it up and running different stuff. Um,
Keep it fresh.
keep it fresh, yeah. And I've seen and I feel like I like doing that too because now I've been seeing RJ Bishop do that. It's like every time I go on Facebook, like every month or so, RJ Bishop's got a new paint scheme for a different number and mod. I'm like, God damn, RJ. Like, you're just going through them all now? He's like, yep. I'm like, all right, yeah, damn, okay. So, which I have liked doing that at Fuel because every season I've run Fuel, I've had a different number. So,
Nice.
um, that's primarily why. Like, I could have probably picked the number I had run before. Like, I thought about running 97 again, but I was like, well, I already won a championship with 97. I want to try to win a championship with another number. So I picked 88, which Corbin Wentz wasn't too happy about that, but he'll get
I did see that.
he can sign up for it for next year, pending no one swoops in and steals it on him.
Yep. Make some bargains or something.
But I was kind of thinking, and I forget a lot of things now. Like I'll like say, yeah, I'll plan to do this, and then I forget. But there's a lot of mystery right now with what Connor Silich's number is going to be in Cup next year, and depending on what it is, I'm going to try to run that where I can, or Shane's number, or Ross's number. But I don't like running the number 1. I mean, a lot of the times I am number 1, and I guess that would be kind of funny to run number 1.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like I did it once at Fuel just because it was the championship
The
perk. But
champion. Yeah.
I mean, it's all right.
Yeah, I kind of like how Trackhouse has the 1 and the 99, but the last rumors I heard were that they were not using the 99 for Zilich, but we'll see.
Yeah, I've heard. The rumor I heard is Silich will either run the 87 or the 88 because he's running 88 in Xfinity, and I think maybe since he's so young, they figure if he sticks around a while, they can establish brand identity with him versus Shane, who may
Yeah.
be around 5-10 years, who knows. So then, and then Shane, they could reestablish brand identity with 97. So if Connor takes 88, they bring the 97 to Cup, which is what I thought they were going to do anyway.
Yeah. That
So
makes sense.
I could see it being 187-88 or 188-97 next year. I think that's what they'll do. unless Silich wants to run something completely random. I don't know what. Um, it would be cool if they could get 28 because he did run 28 for a bit in the lower ranks, but Robert Yates has a stranglehold on that number. Even if it's a
Yeah.
different font, he's got a stranglehold on that number. I don't know if you saw the clip of Junior talking about it, but Junior wanted to run 28 when he left DEI.
Oh, really? I did not see that.
Yep, he wanted to run 28, and when he talked to Rick about it, Rick was like, "Oh well, you got to talk to Yates about that." And Junior was confused. Junior was like, "Really? I got to talk to Yates about that?" And they were like, "Yep." And he called up Yates, and Yates was like, "Oh, I got to check with Haviland because the legacy of Haviland and the 28 and everything." And I
Yeah.
guess at the time in 2008, 2007, I guess actually, because he joined in 2008. At the time, I think they had just stopped using 28 in 02. 02 was the last year they ran 28 with Ricky Rudd. And then they turned that car into the 38 for Sadler with the M&M sponsorship. And no one has run 28 in Cup since, question mark. I think other than maybe Quaffle ran 28 at one point with K&N. I don't remember if that was.
Yeah, I
uh,
can't recall anyone running it, but
I might be thinking
maybe.
of a fictional scheme, actually. I might be thinking of a fictional scheme. I think he ran 38. But yeah, like they have I think I remember hearing it years ago, but I'm pretty sure that when they register their numbers every year, that Robert Yates pays for the 28 every year just so that no one will take it. So
Interesting.
I'm curious. I mean, I don't know how much Haviland cares now. I mean, it's been another 16 years almost, 17, 18 years actually. So you got to figure the number comes back eventually, but it's like it's funny like the 43 is still around, the 3 is still around, the 48's around, the 24's around. It's like you have all these legendary numbers and the 28, a number that, you know, Davey didn't get to win a title in it. Ernie unfortunately didn't get to win a title in it. Like it was such a in a sad way, it was kind of a cursed number in Cup. Like there was a lot of tragedy around it. Like even when Davey
Yeah.
would win races, he's getting hurt. Like he won the All Star race, and Kyle Petty tried to kill him.
Yeah.
So, um, and then Ernie, of course, at Michigan both times. I don't know if the second time was in the 28 again or not. I don't recall, but yeah, I mean maybe that's why they don't want anyone to get back in it. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. When Austin Dillon went into the catch fence at Daytona in
Yeah.
2015, I thought this number's cursed. No one should be driving this car.
Yeah,
Um,
that one was bad.
and, and and even since then, Austin has kind of been like a crash test dummy. He had what year was it? Was it 22 or 23? I think it was 23. He got wrecked hard at Pocono. He had a wreck hard at
Oh
Dega.
yeah.
There were two wrecks where I was like, man, he's lucky because it was Dega, I think Brad's car got in the way right before he hit the wall. And then at Gateway, there was a wreck where Stenhouse's car got in the way because he was like way down the track. And he was lucky if Stenhouse's car hadn't gotten in the way. Gateway still doesn't have a safer down the outside wall on the front stretch. Austin would have hit
No.
concrete like head on the front stretch. And he was lucky that Stenhouse's car was in the way. That was a year where I was like, man, Austin might get concussed, but he never did. He's had some bad wrecks.
Yeah. Yeah, he's had some big ones. Blaney's had some big ones. I think Blaney hit that one section of wall that didn't have a safer barrier at
Nashville.
Daytona or Nashville. Yeah.
That weird one where it like he accelerated right into it. Like I think it was like 45 miles an hour,
Yeah.
but there was no safer wall there, so it crumpled up as if he was going like 90 into a safer wall.
Yeah. And he's like, that one hurt. And I was like, you were going so slow. That's insane. Like, how did that happen? You look like you were stopped, but
Yeah, I
I
think it
guess when they're
was.
going 160, it looks slow.
Yeah, I think it was because the car like gripped up almost like an NR. It car gripped up right before he went into the wall, and it accelerated him into the wall. So I think he had some extra force
Yeah, it
versus
makes
just
sense.
like the speed. Yeah. Well, let's get back to NR. We went on a tangent there. Uh,
The Bush Light talking.
the Bush Light. No, it was just regular Bush, but
Oh, Bush, sorry.
yeah,
Bush
it's
talking.
whatever. It's the same thing. Like I said, 4.2 versus 3.8. Like there's no difference there. So
Yep.
how did you get your first league win? Did it come at MOT?
Yeah. I I'm not certain. I remember how I lost my first win, but I think my first win was at Kentucky. But I'm
Ooh,
not. I think it was in Dash because I won the season one Dash championship. Um, Pretty sure that's when I got my first win. But I when I first joined, so they had their Sunday and Mondays they were doing, and then they were doing Aero 88 every other week on Thursdays. And I was like, okay, I can race on Thursdays. Like, I'll just keep it light every other week. Like, I got a wife and a house and stuff. I'm not gonna get invested in this. So I'd do that, and then no one liked Aero 88 on Thursdays, I guess. So by the end of the season, it was me, Matt, Keith, and then Alex Jarvie would all race, just us four. And there's one at I think it's Bristol 91. I think we raced at. And it's pretty high tire wear, and something about the way I drove, my tires did not wear. So I basically could go long enough. I cut out a, uh, a stop for tires. So I had I think I had Matt and Keith a lap down, and Alex Jarvie was like half a lap down. I was just like cruising to a victory, and then this was after I'd wrecked Keith, and I still wasn't sure if he was gonna repay me. I was looking in my mirror to see if he's gonna dive bomb me into one corner, and I like missed my line by like a foot maybe, and it bottomed out on the apron, and I spun. Brought a caution with like 4 to go. I think it's 5 to go, and then we crossed the line 4 to go, and I was new to NR, and I didn't realize that basically meant the race was over. I just saw there's laps left, so I pit for new tires and did pull the Mark Martin. And ended up losing, so it was
damn.
pretty upsetting. Yeah, I was like at Bristol too, like, well, at least Mark's my favorite driver. It kind of makes sense, but so that one's memorable. The win at Dash isn't as memorable, I guess, for some reason, but I'm pretty sure it was Kentucky, and then um, yeah, went on to win the championship. Unfortunately, I couldn't win the championship race at Homestead. There's a kid who had joined that I just was like, man, he's so fast. And then he later got kicked out for illegal EXE use. So I'm not sure if he's using it in that race, but he was really fast. But I finished second to him and
No
walked up the
name.
championship.
Is this guy still around? We don't want to bring up
I
past
don't.
mistakes, or
Yeah, I think it was is like Ryan something. He's like a kid.
mm,
I don't know if it was an accident or something. He said it was an accident. Someone
that's what they
told him
always
to
say.
download stuff.
They
Yep.
always say
But
it's an accident, but I
yep.
mean, I wouldn't have a different EXE than the regular EXE as a shortcut on my desktop. That's what I would say.
Yep.
Um, so
Yeah, and it was a smart one too. It wasn't one where like he just like was absolutely gone where everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, you're cheating." But it was like he just had a little bit more speed as he's like mid corner basically. It'd stick better and he'd just drive away and it's like at first maybe you're just better, but after a while it's like, all right, there's something going on here because worn tires shouldn't be able to hold that much speed. But
hmm
and then they talked to him and he ended up confessing to it, I think. But I can't remember his life. I don't know if it's like Ryan Arnold or something, but I'm pretty sure it's Ryan something.
mm.
But he did like 3 races, confessed to it, came back for like 2 more races, and then disappeared. So at least for Mott, he disappeared. I don't know if he's still out there somewhere, but
Who knows? He might be watching this very episode right now.
he might.
uh,
Maybe he's pissed. I wasn't cheating, you son of a.
would you say you had a mentor at all, or did like Matt, Keith collectively kind of just help you out, Jess?
Yeah, so I used to get on like the hour of practice. I would get on at like 8 p.m. for practice, and I'd do some laps and feel it, and then I'd get off and I would just watch. At first, I never watched Matt or Keith because I was like, I ain't catching them. They're way too fast. So I would watch guys that were running 3-4 tenths faster than me, and I just look at their corner speed, kind of the line they're running, and I'd go out and I would just like try to match their corner speed, and eventually I'd figure it out, and then I would just like keep picking people that were faster than me. So eventually, throughout that first season of Dash, and I think I did Cup too. I watched. I ended up watching Matt and Keith a lot and seeing that their corner entry speeds and trying to match it. And um, I'd qualify up front, usually get some poles, just because I spent an hour just sending it around the track, trying because like Keith would be doing hot laps, and I didn't know that's what he's doing. I just saw his speed. I was like, oh, I gotta try to match what he's doing. So got pretty good at sending it and knew the lines and how to do it. Um, yeah, that's. I still tell people like pick someone that's fast because I feel like a lot of times when they're people aren't as fast, they get in, they see like you or Keith or someone, and they're like, oh man, I'm never gonna be as fast as them, and they just watch them and they're like, I can't do that. It's like, yeah, I know they couldn't do that when they first started either. Go pick someone that's slower, that's still faster than you, and work your way up. But then I usually get ignored because it takes too long. I want immediate skills, damn it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just watch them. I try to go out and recreate kind of what they did. I'd race against the AI on 70%. I just try to see how many times I could lap them without like hitting any of them. Not just like slinging around the outside, like working through traffic and stuff. And I've watched racing, a lot of racing my whole life, so I feel like my racecraft was kind of there already, but all that stuff kind of helped. And
Yeah,
still a little bit to learn, but
I would say me personally, I was way too aggressive. Like when I started racing online, because I was screwing around with the AI, wrecking them and stuff, and I knew I wasn't gonna like just casually intent wreck somebody. I mean, I ended up getting mad at people and intent wrecking them when I started out 10 years ago, anyway. But I like had been screwing around on controller and stuff, and I had played racing games so much like growing up, so like I kind of like had a sense of racecraft too. I just was very like I would always take what people said like at face value, and if it like a lot of times people were just joking with me and I was just a too serious kid.
oh
So
yeah,
I would like take it at face value and be like, "What the fuck did you say to me? I'll wreck your ass," you know. Or
yep.
as that one Maverick clip goes, "I will fucking wreck your shit," and I almost
Good old
did.
Maverick.
Thank God
Yep.
that wall was there.
Yeah. Sometimes that's necessary in that league, but
Well,
it's
Keith
fun.
liked it. Keith told me he was
Yeah.
laughing about that one. But yeah, I always felt like I had like a sense of like if I can just figure it out, like I feel like I'll know what I'm doing because I had short run speed even when I started out on controller. Like I think my first big race, it was granted it was Pig Stadium CTS and it was flat out, but I qualified second out of 28 on controller with like minimal assists and stuff. So I
Nice.
I knew somewhat what I was doing.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, I
think
think that helped that I had played like NR 2002, which is I
yep.
assume a similar physics when I was younger. So I kind of like, I don't know, somewhere in the back of my brain kind of knew how it would react. But
Yeah. I mean that was kind of me with NR4. Like I used to mess with NASCAR Racing 4 on keyboard cuz at the time when I had a Windows 98 PC, that was like the most frames I could get out of the three
oh,
games. I
nice.
had NR4, O2, and O3. So NR4 I got the most frames, and it drives way different than NR. I've heard a lot of people say, but I was able to just kind of messing around as a kid. Like the few times I'd be like, yeah, I want to race serious, and I'd still wreck the AI out of my way because I had them on probably 70%, but I was like at least like kind of building a memory bank of like how Papyrus games drive, I guess, even though it was on keyboard. So
Yeah.
okay, so when you started, were you on wheel?
Yeah. Yeah. So I got a Thrustmaster T150 for like 150 bucks, and I was like, don't need nothing fancy, but wheel came with some pedals. Um, I'm still running that. It works pretty good. So I've tried keyboard, never been able to figure it out. I've done it like when I've been on vacation on my laptop or something, and I just wiggle all over the track. I'm like, how are people fast doing this? This is insane.
I remember there was a fast race. I, I don't remember if it was last year. I don't think it was last year. I think it was 2023. I don't remember what track we were running. Might have been Charlotte, might not have been. But Josh Moyers was away on vacation or whatever, and he tried showing up on keyboard, and he wasn't that bad. He honestly wasn't that bad. I don't know if he had settings that he got from either like Joven or someone who might have been like remembering like their keyboard settings. Because guys like Joven, DJ Curtis, Cody Lamas, like they ran keyboard so much. Cody Lamas still runs keyboard on an R just because he doesn't want to get a wheel. He has like two computers, so he has an iRacing computer where the wheel is, and an NR computer which he paints on. So he doesn't have a wheel for the NR computer, so he just runs on keyboard, and he does pretty fine.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
So there are guys that they made a habit out of that. One guy that used to run on keyboard all the time was Nick Baker. Nick Baker was really good on keyboard too. But yeah, those guys found ways to win, mostly at like probably the speedways, the bigger tracks, not so much short tracks or road courses, but they would have decent speed. I think I tried it once. I had a controller, but I was like, I'm gonna run keyboard. Well, my dumbass picked Richmond to run keyboard on. That
Oh
was
boy.
sketchy. I should have picked a different track. I don't remember how it went. I think I might have wrecked out.
Yeah, that would not be fun.
Now, how did you come up with your settings? Did you just kind of pick something that made sense, or did you get like advice?
Yeah, because people would ask about like steering rotation, so I've bopped around from I ran I think I went as low as 240 at one time up to I heard Malin one time say that the game was made for 400 degrees of rotation, so I've run that for a while now. I'm like, it might just be me getting better, but I feel like I save tires a little bit better doing it. Um, and then I've kind of messed with linearity, but it's usually just like before a race or like in practice or something. So I probably have to sit down and like actually do laps at the same track intentionally. But I pretty much keep that bumped all the way up just to, I don't know.
Mm.
We'll just leave it on 100 and go with it. So I haven't really played with it too much. I've played with like the damping, and I keep my force feedback a little lower just because I'm cheap and I don't want to I don't want to burn out my wheel prematurely. I don't know if that'll help, but keep it at like I think it's 50% in game, and the wheel settings I have it like 70%, just a little lighter.
You think 50% low? I run my force feedback at 8.
Nice.
Just gives you like
You
a
probably.
little tightness and twitch here and there.
Oh yeah.
So just enough. It's funny though. I remember years ago, I was like, well, I'm only running 8. Do I even need it? So I tried at 0, and I was like, wow, the wheel feels way different. I'm turning it back to 8. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah. I mean, I think I've probably said my settings in multiple servers, but I'm still on 245 degrees with 53% linearity. My biggest advocate for people when I talk to them about settings is if you're going to go up on degrees of rotation, you can go up on linearity. If you're going to go down on rotation, you need to go down on linearity. That's why controller drivers, they basically have like I don't even know what you could call it because it's on a it's on a joystick. I don't know how much
Yeah.
rotation the joystick would technically maybe have per se. But that's why like controller drivers like they should be running 0% linearity. Because that'll help really delay their input without needing to do the input momentum stuff. Um, but there are guys that have run low steering rotation and like 100% linearity with their force feedback all the way up, and they've been fast as hell with it. But I couldn't do it. Um,
Yeah.
I think I tried. I think this was last year. Might have been at the beginning of the year. I don't know. My sense of time is gone. It was either at the beginning of this year or it was last year. I was practicing Game Infineon. So I had done a bunch of laps with my regular settings and setup, and I ran like a really good lap, and I was like, just to prove to myself that I'm running the right thing here, I'll go to 100% linearity since somebody said that I'm cheesing the game by running 53%. So I tried it and
Freaking
I was
cheesehead.
I tried 100% linearity and I wasn't even turning the wheel and the car was twitching down the straightaway. I was like, how does anyone drive like this? Like, how could you drive with your car just like you'd have to like have a death grip on the bloody steering wheel. I still ran a lap that I think was like 6 or 7 tenths off my best, which for a lot of people would still been good enough. But I mean, I was sliding everywhere more or less. I mean, I was like, yeah, I'm
Yep.
not running 100 linearity. I know guys. There are guys at Rolling Thunder Gaming that they run like around the same degrees of rotation as me. They're either running like 220 or 240 or whatever, and they're running they're running zero linearity. And I'm like, how the hell did they even turn?
Yeah,
Because
that's crazy.
there was one time at FTF, this was for Daytona qualifying, and they never let you use assist. They had it on hardcore for Daytona 500 qualifying only. And this was when I had heard, me and Joven had heard from Taylor Morgans, who used to be one of the best guys on this game. He was like, "Oh, I've been running 53% linearity lately with this degrees of rotation." That's how I got my settings, was Taylor Morgans. Um,
Oh, nice.
Joven and I had been running. I think Joven might have been running 270, but I had been running 260 with 60 linearity because that's what Derek Justice would run for a time. Until Derek actually turned his up to 320 at one point because he said, "Oh, NR only recognizes up to 320," which is why it's funny that um, I don't know how Derek figured that out or if whatnot, but it's funny because, like, as you know, you said Malin said, "Oh, the game was made for 400." Well, until
Yeah.
Malin said that, I was under the impression it only recognized up to 320 or whatnot. So it's kind of funny how that all works out. Um, but so we were testing Q laps, and I was like, "Well, if the linearity delays my input and I can't use assistance, I wonder if I turn my linearity down more, if I can like help smoothen out my car going into the corner." So
Oh, yeah.
I think I ended up running my Q lap with I think it was like 10 or 20% linearity, which at the time I was not used to that at all. You want to talk about a dead zone? 10% linearity on even 245 degrees, there was like a 20-degree dead zone in one way. Like that's ridiculous. Like I'm turning the wheel like I was turning the wheel almost 40 probably 45 degrees to the left to finally get it to start rotating, but it made it so smooth. I think I qualified top 3 or 5 that year. I want to say I got outside pole, but I don't 100% remember, so I don't want to certify that. But it was definitely top 5, which was the best I had ever qualified at FTF because a lot of those guys were so good at qualifying. Like now, I don't even need to do that, and I can go out and run a good Q lap like those guys used to. But like back then, like forget it. Like I needed to do something goofy to get myself a good lap.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard a lot about FTF. I don't think I was around early enough to partake in it.
You would have probably you probably would have got a kick out of it. I don't know if it would have really frustrated you, but I think you would have got a kick out of it. Um, I don't think I know Keith's been around forever racing, but I don't remember ever seeing Keith over there. So um, I don't know what leagues Keith really has raced at. That's a question I need to ask him when he comes on. Is where the hell were you racing? I never seen you until
Yeah.
MOT. Like where the hell
Yeah.
were you? That's another fun little thing about NR though is I've said it so much too. It's people run the same 3 to 5 leagues every week, and they don't venture out of that. Once you find your 3 to 5 leagues, and it's like the same, you'll find like the same 5 to 10 guys that they race all the same leagues. Like you're comfortable and you don't venture out. So I see that. I can even name like groups of people now. Like I know where they race because I would go and race there for a little bit, then go away, and it's like okay, like I know where I'm gonna see the same guys like every night. If I race at these places every night, like I'm gonna see these guys every night, even if it's 2, 3, 4 leagues. So that's I think a positive of NR is if you want to get used to racing against the same group of people every week. Like, if you want to race against the guys at MOT, I think I don't know how many of them race Gnarl, but I think like Cameron I think runs Gnarl. I don't know if Garson races over there or not, but
Yeah, that's. I think Cam and Garson mainly race there, and then I don't remember how Cam. I know Keith and I used to race Gnarl quite a bit. I'll venture over there every once in a while when I'm not busy on a Friday, but um, I think we did a short track series, and Garson decided to join Mott. Um, and he's kind of stuck around every once in a while, which is
mm,
kind of cool because he's kind of fun to race with. He's pretty fast, but decent racer. Not like doesn't just junk you anytime you're
yeah,
trying to race him hard. But
yeah,
yeah, Gnarl. There's some people that I race over there. I'm just like, let's keep tabs on this guy. I'm not saying he can't join, but if he does, just be ready. But there's some darts without feathers over there. Same with Maverick, and I mean most leagues have a few of those, but
oh yeah. I was talking with somebody after Fuel Wednesday, um, and I was saying like, yeah, it's always funny how right when you get to like, if you can just get past 25 to go at Michigan, like everyone will be good on fuel the next time they pit. But then there's always guys in the mid to rear that are like, let's crash with 27 to go. And then everyone's screwed. Everyone's
yep,
like, I'm going to have to save a lap or two of fuel just to make it, which is annoying on a track such as the Michigan we were running because you were literally only lifting from 210 to like 195. So there's not even enough time to clutch to save 2 laps. So like it's annoying, but it's like it always happens. Like it's the same. But so that source was saying like, well, I don't even know if it's really the guys in the mid pack or not. It's like the same 3 or 4 guys every race that are causing the accidents. Not to name any names, but you know what I mean.
yeah,
It's the same
yep,
at wherever you go. It's like, yeah, there's always that one or few guys. I mean, we've got our guy at MOT or two.
yep.
It's always accidental, but it's at some point you got to be like, man, you got to learn.
Yeah,
You got to just tone it down that little bit, and you'd be fine. So, um, but yeah, that's a cool little thing. You go to iRacing, people like running public lobbies, and then it's like, well, then you got different people every lobby for the most part, unless you start to see the same guys in your iRating range. But
yeah, yeah. Last year I did their new member Black Friday deal for a month for iRacing. So
mm,
like, I got $3. It was pretty fun, but I did see some gnarl people were in one of my lobbies once. I think I did street stocks at Charlotte or something. I was like, oh, neat. I know that name, but otherwise it's just random guys. I did a few races. I was like, oh, I can see why people like this. I ain't gonna pay for it, but other than the $3.
it's actually funny. I remember I used to do iRacing a little 2018, 2019, and then my Malwarebytes was like, oh, the iRacing update EXE's malware. We're going to quarantine this, and then I couldn't get it out of quarantine, so
Oh,
I was
nice.
like, screw it. I was like, I wasn't having that much fun anymore anyway, so I
Yeah.
stopped. But there was like a moment like 2 or 3 years ago where one of my buddies had asked me, he's like, hey, did you run this race recently on iRacing? And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, it was like Sack Rogers 14 or something. I was like, oh, no, I have my account as just Sack Rogers. Um, Fun fact about that: when I joined, I was Zachary Rogers 3, 4. I was either Zachary Rogers 3 or 4, and some of my buddies were like, "Oh, like if you're just gonna like you can change your name if you're just shortening your first name. Like no one has Zach Rogers, why don't you go for it?" So I was like, "Okay." So that was like 2018. So I did it. So now I have my account is Zach Rogers, and like no one can take that from me unless I mean it's a common name, believe it or not. Like if you look up my name, like there was someone who was a football player that has like my name spelled that way. Obviously, I think their middle name is different, but like it's a common name. I got a common last name and like a pretty popular first name now, so
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, there's a lot of them out there. So,
Yep.
Um, but yeah, so like I think I was talking to Ryzen Baker the other day, and he's like, "Oh," or today actually, and he's like, "Yeah, it's funny. Like you and Tyler Mallon were in my friend request like only for a while, and then Tyler finally accepted his friend request, so now I'm just the only one sitting, and I haven't logged in 6 years, so." Which
Nice.
they changed it to where now like you have to have an active subscription to access anything, which I
Oh,
think is kind of lame because I wanted to see like
yeah.
my stats and stuff, and it's like, well, someone can go to my profile and look.
Yeah, I know there's a website you can look it up. It'll just say like your starts, wins, and polls. Nothing too insane, but it's
Yeah.
like iRacing trophies or something.
Okay, so who would you say the first person you butted heads with was?
Um, Probably Keith, just because like taking him out that bad when I first started. Um, and then like I messaged him. We went back and forth for a while. But then like I don't know, he races pretty good. I like the way he races. So then there was I don't know if you ever raced with Aaron Hall.
Oh yeah,
Or is that,
Aaron
yeah,
Hall. Oh, I met Aaron Hall at Maverick in 2023. I
oh
think you might
nice,
remember
yeah,
that one.
yeah. So I like Aaron too. Like he's an aggressive racer, and sometimes he just would push a little too much. And I'm like, I'm okay for being aggressive and I get wrecked. That's fine. But when I get wrecked because you're doing something dumb, like if you just stick the bottom, you're probably gonna pass me. But instead you try to do a slide job, and now I get shoved in the fence. Then I have some issues. So. And he kind of went through a little phase in Mott where he got yelled at quite a bit, just got on people's nerves for doing stuff like
There are
that.
some soundboard clips of Matt yelling at him in Robert Kubat's Discord server.
Oh, I bet. So, but I did kind of like how Denny did to Ross Chastain, where technically he didn't wreck him. It like he ran him up the track, but technically he left Ross space at Pocono to squeeze his car, and you just had to be perfect. So
Hmm.
I'll do that to people sometimes. It's so funny because I'll do it, and almost every time I just hear him going like, okay, because it's like when you're racing, like you know that car slid up a little more than they had been, but um, like Matt was adminning or something, and he's like said something that's like, yeah, I intentionally wrecked Aaron, and he's like, what? No, you left him room. He just hit the wall, and I was like, I mean, I guess you could say that, but no, I definitely made him do that because just the way I came off, and but it looks like I left him space for a whole car. It's like, all right,
Yeah.
well, I confessed, and you don't believe me, so that's fine.
I remember my first interaction with Aaron, and I think Aaron's a good kid, but he definitely reminds me of myself when I was that age, as really aggressive and then doesn't want to take fault for any problems he causes, you know. And
Yep.
you learn that with time that like, yeah, I'm kind of being stupid. I should probably not be stupid, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Even by the time he stopped racing, as far as I know,
yeah,
at least at Mott. But
I haven't seen him
yeah,
around like all year really.
yeah. But I mean, even towards the end, he got better at that. Like he
He
wasn't.
was getting there, yeah.
Yeah. It's like he's just a young kid, and I think he was in high school still. And but
Yeah. But so my first interaction with Aaron was 2023 Maverick Charlotte. Um
oh yeah,
and it was him and Cade Welty, who we don't see race anymore. Cade
yeah.
I never heard Cade really talk. I'll get into Cade a little bit too. I had another Maverick race that same year, but at Charlotte, it was coming down to the end of it. They were great on the short run, Aaron and Cade, and then I like would save a little bit and get them on the long run. But Aaron slide jobbed the hell out of me going into one, and I was running the wall and I lifted for him. Like he slid up right in front of me at the last second, middle of the corner, and I had every right to not lift and just dump him, but I lifted for him, and then I think a few laps later we were going through the quad oval and I went to make a move high and he pulled up in front of me again, and that time I decided not to lift and I hit him square, but it wrecked him.
Yep,
And he
I
was
remember
so
that.
mad. He was like, "Oh, really? You're gonna win that way?" And I was like, "You blocked me." And he's like, "What are you talking about?" And then I don't know who, I don't remember the name of the guy who was doing calls for Ben at the time, but he said it was on me. And I was like, "I don't even know who you are, but you're wrong, but okay." And it was a whole thing.
Yeah, I vaguely remember that. Can't remember who that was either.
Yeah, it was somebody. I don't know if he's still an admin in the server, the Discord server or not, but it was someone who's
It might have
never
been.
there anymore.
I was gonna say it might have been Dylan, but he's so spotty. I'm not
No,
sure if he was there.
wasn't Dylan. It was. It might have been Greg Shetner. I don't remember.
Oh, I forgot about Greg. I should
Yeah,
message him
it
and Mott and get him back.
it might have been Greg. I don't recall exactly. I mean, it was like I said, I was only there for a couple of races that year.
Yeah.
And then at Chicagoland, Cade and I were side by side coming off of four, and we went into the tri-oval, and I didn't really want to go to the apron because it wasn't really an advantage.
Oh, I remember that one. Yeah.
So
He just kind of turned down.
I stayed on the track, and he just turned down into me, and we wrecked. And I remember saying, "You cannot assume that I'm going to the apron. I do not have to go down there." And then I still ended
Yep.
up winning that race with no rear end over Todd Wilson, which was crazy. That was a battle between me and Todd. I miss racing Todd. I don't really see. I forget what league he races in, but I don't get to race him really at all anymore. I love racing that guy.
Yeah, I do too. I never knew Autry Waits, but I guess he was Todd's buddy. He had me put some decals and some different stuff on an Atlanta track for like an Autry Waits memorial.
Mm.
So I talked to him a little bit there, and I've raced him a few times at Maverick. He cheated me out of a shirt one time. Ben was like gonna get him a custom shirt with like a picture of your car, and it's at Atlanta, and it was like I think Ben had picked it, and it was just a bottom lane. Like get to the bottom. It doesn't matter how many cars go up top, they can't pass. And
Mm.
me and Todd, well, I spooked Todd because I didn't call that as pitting till the last second because I don't know why I should just suck it up, but I'm like I don't want people to know my strategy. But I was pitting late, and I like he slowed down early, and I came off the banking like really aggressively, so he thought I was gonna hit him, so he gassed up a little bit, and he overshot pit road and got a penalty.
Oh
Um,
man.
but then I think I did the same thing later, so we ended up coming off pit road side by side, and I went up to right near the track where it's a little banked, and he went all the way down to the wall to like shortcut it, and like because he had like figured out how fast he could go to slide up to the banking, and he had no idea I was still out there because he
Mm.
thought he like cleared me easy. He was gonna slide up in front of me, but I got on that banking early and was able to rip around and like hit me up onto the track. And I think it was early Maverick where Ben was doing everything, so I didn't bother worrying about saying, "Hey, I need this black cleared," and I just pit. I was also pretty upset, but just because I was like, "Man, Todd's so good. Like, what kind of crap move was that?" But then later I watched it and he was talking. I was like, "Oh, I can see it. Like, he thought he was clear." He's like, "You can have the shirt," and I was like, "Nope, I only want it if I win. I don't want a loser shirt." But it was fun to race him.
You got some friends in that room with you? I hear crickets coming through your mic.
Oh man, yeah. There's one that lives somewhere down here.
That's
I don't know
funny.
where he is, but yeah.
Every time Tate talks, you just hear a cricket too in the background. It's like, shouldn't the cricket hear Tate talking and shut up? And no, that cricket's going. You know, it's funny you bring up like pit entry shenanigans. I haven't had a, a embarrassing moment in a while, but this is something that I've never talked about on this show so far, which is kind of funny to believe. 22 episodes in. Um, there are times where I've made brilliant pit road entry moves and times where I have fucked up. So we'll talk about a brilliant one first. There was a race at Bomb Squad Pocono. And this is actually on JTN. I don't remember which one. It was in 2021. So it's one of the Pocono races in 2021 for Cup. It was near the end of the race. A lot of us were hovering under yellow as if we were going to pit or not. And so I'm holding steady. And then at the last second behind me, everyone starts to pit. I cranked the wheel hard left, slammed the gas to get it to rotate, then had to hook it hard back to the right, almost hit the pit wall, almost hit the guy next to me, and I had to like kind of step on the brake a little bit to not speed going into pit road. That was probably the sketchiest I've like made a late pit ever. I mean, it looks crazy. Joe was freaking out. I think Joe was like, "What are we doing?" Um, but there was a time. This was probably 2016. I was racing in a league run by Cole Baker. We were running Brands Hatch because Cole loved Brands Hatch. It's a UK road course, really
Yeah,
small
I
road
think we
course.
did
It's
it
kind
for
of lime rocky. We've run it
Wheeler.
at MOT before, yeah. But I tried to pit late there, and I hit the pit wall and died. I think I took somebody out with me. Um, a lot of people were laughing, but a few people were pissed. um, and then one other time, I've made a blunder. I like went to pit as if I was pitting, and then he who shall not be named, he was behind me, and he went to fake pit back out to not pit, and so I did the same. But now I didn't realize that a section of the apron, I thought it was paint, but it turned out it was turf. So when I went across it, it spun me out right into him, and we both spun out while staying out under yellow. Uh, he ended up still winning the race, and I looked really stupid. And I think a lot of guys had pit, and I ended up falling back to like, I ended up getting wrecked going into three. So I could have had maybe a top five, top 10, and instead I got wrecked and I fell back to like 15th. This was in a melon car race. That was the last time that I did something stupid with pit road entry. That was probably three. I think that was 3 years ago. So it's been a while. Thank God.
Yeah,
I try
that's
to
fun.
I try to either like commit before I go in of like, am I pitting or not? And then like, if I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna pit, I don't double think it. And if it's, yeah, I think I might pit, but I'm gonna wait and see if someone behind me, because like it used to be, it's a lot easier when you're third or fourth in line. Like if the top two, three stay out, like yeah, you're gonna pit. Like if enough laps have been run, you want that advantage so you can attack. When
Yeah,
you're leading and there's only been like 3 to 5 laps run, you're like, I don't know, like I could pit for just two, but then everyone will probably take four or they'll stay out. So like if I pit, I want to just take four. So it's tough when you're leading at a caution late. That's why like I'm glad fuel has like a point of no return now.
yeah,
So like it's 5 to go, and I'm like, we get to 10 to go, and then my anxiety kicks in, and I'm just like, just get to 5 to go, just get to 5 to go. All right, we're at 5 to go. Nothing matters now. Like then at that point, like if I like lose like straight up, or if I get wrecked, I'll probably still be mad. But if I lose straight up, then it's like, okay, well at least it didn't come down the shenanigans with pit road.
yeah, yeah. You're kind of screwed either way if you
This is a
stay out and they pit or whatever. But
yeah,
sorry, what?
you're good. This is a question I haven't gotten to ask really lately. What's a moment between you and myself that you can recall?
I think it was this last season in Dash. I think it was that leading at Homestead. I think it was Dash, the
Yep.
Cup 90 mod.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and because I've always been like, I feel like pretty decent at Homestead. I know you've said before that you're pretty good there, and I think you were behind Keith, and you're like trying to work him over. So I was like trying to manage my gap because
This might have
like
been
I
Cup
always,
Mod, original Cup Mod, I think.
oh maybe that's what it was, but I always have a problem of like burning up my tires a little bit too early. So I was like trying to manage the gap to Keith while also like not having him be able to dive bomb me. And then you finally got past Keith, and then he closed the gap a little quicker than I would have liked. And I just remember, I think I started to push a little bit, and I missed the corner just like slightly. And I was like, oh no, my tires might be hot. And I was like struggling to hold the bottom, and I just watch you like in the middle of the corner, you could just hold it down a little lower. I don't remember how many laps I held you off, but I was like,
Mm-hmm.
come on, because it was getting towards the end of the race, and I was like, come on, because everyone's like, oh Zach, he can't be beat. Blow. It's like it's just a race car. Like he just he takes care of his stuff. You just gotta take care of your stuff and not miss your marks. And I missed my marks and was pushing too much for that point. Because I was like, I think it was like 7 to go or something. I was like, okay, I can go a little faster. And I went too
Yeah.
early in my right front. I don't know why. I've never been able to. I've gotten better, but like that thing heats up so fast for me. And like I'm good friends
Mm.
with Chad, so we have a whisper, and he'll be like, "What's your temps at?" And I'm like, "I'm at 230." He's like, "Oh, I'm at 210." I'm like, "What the hell? How are you doing that? This is BS." But
That's like it's like when I run at fuel or fast, and Tyler Stallhood will say, "Oh, my right front's at 240." I'm like, 240? What the fuck are you doing?
yeah,
240? I'm at 210, bro. I heard something. He's like, I don't know. It's like, I don't know what weird settings he's been running lately, but anytime I watch his stream, he's like turning like, I think he has a higher degree of rotation, and it's why, but he'll turn like 90 degrees in, and then he like turns like all the way back, or he doesn't turn like back straight soon enough. One big thing with tire heat is you want to gradually turn in and you want to gradually turn out. Um, if you think you're getting tight at the middle of the corner, the best thing to do is to kind of try to like give the wheel like a quick shake back to the center and then start turning left again while also like playing with the throttle, so you can try to get the rear of your car to rotate a little bit more. And then when you get to the actual exit, then you can gradually turn out with little input, and that saves your right front a little bit.
yeah. I think what usually screws me is I watch too much dirt racing, and I cannot, for some reason, in the middle of the race, I forget that's not. So like in my head, I'm just like, if I hit the gas, the car turns more. Especially with Mott setups, they're a little tighter. That's not how they work. So I'll get to the throttle a little earlier than I should because I'm like, oh, I need the car to rotate. I'll hit the throttle, and then it just drags that right front. I'm like, stop doing that. So I've gotten better because now it's like, okay, when I think I need to hit the throttle, wait another second and then hit it, or half second. But that
Yeah,
straighten it out thing, I have to get used to that too.
I was like Kentucky on Monday when we ran Kentucky, and I'm thinking, oh yeah, it's probably the same Kentucky INI, and then I'm saving my right front as I would the previous time I had run that track and cup, because I broadcasted the season 12 race, which was a lot of fun to broadcast and watch. But I'm like doing my thing, and I'm like looking at the right front, and I'm like, man, the right front's burning off a lot more than I remember. And
yeah.
then it just turned into a dump truck, and I was like, holy shit, this thing's tight. And I thought, for a second, I thought Keith maybe was going to get me, but Keith was tight too. And then Matt's been doing what I'll always see Joven do. Like Joven will save that little bit more at the beginning of the run, and then he'll get you right at the end, or he'll almost get you. And I had seen Matt hanging back, and I was like, oh boy. I was like,
Yeah.
I might have not saved that little extra bit I needed to save.
I
Matt
think
might just power by me here, and he about did.
I was gonna say I think he dropped back too far because at one point, because I was trying to save a little bit and then I caught and passed him, and I think he almost got passed by someone behind me, and I was like, I know I'm not saving enough, but also I know my skills and I'm gonna fall off with 5 to go regardless, so I'm gonna try to get up the road far enough. And then I was like, I don't know, Matt, that's pretty far back. But then, like he always does, he starts storming past, and you think he's not going that fast, and 2 laps later he's passed 2 more cars, and you're like, shoot, he might get there, but this time he didn't.
Yeah, that's one thing with Joven. I feel like sometimes he saves the same way every time, but sometimes depending on the track, it's like a little too much. So then like I said, he'll get to me, but then like he gave up that like 5/10 or so that he needed to like get next to me and probably pass
Oh yeah.
me. And then doesn't get to me. I think that happened at I think Fast Michigan. That was one where he had saved heavy, and I thought like, oh man, he might get me, but then he like he was just not quite there enough to get me. But he was like gonna get me if we had like two more laps. And then I think California might have been the same way earlier in the year. I don't exactly recall, but he's really good at saving his stuff. What's the biggest race or race win that means the most to you?
Now I won a fuel mileage race at Pocono and Maverick. That one was pretty fun, just because I think I got on that stretch. I don't remember how that set up. We had like a long green flag run or something, but somehow I was a little off sequence and it was like right on the number, and I kind of like was able to save fuel and like I lost some spots, but I was like, I think it'll come back to me, and it ended up. So that was fun, just because it's like racing a smart race basically. And then I think I've won at Mid Ohio 3 times now. I always like the track a little bit, but then you win there and you're like, this is a fantastic track. And I don't think any of the 3 wins I've been the fastest, but it's my strategy on road courses is just keep it on the track. Don't lock up, keep it on the track, because almost everyone else makes a mistake and you can get top fives. And it's like the really fast people would race and they'd wreck each other, and they would just they didn't have enough time to catch back up. So those were fun. Just I don't know. I like the races where it plays out. It's not just a 7 to go balls to the wall, and those are fun too. But I like it when it's a little longer and it's kind of like, okay, I might not be as fast as this guy, but how can I manipulate it to be in my favor at the end, basically.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Um, this is a four-part question. I'm gonna add a little clause to it because then I'm gonna talk more deeply about the tracks that you have personally made and how you got into that after this question. So I'm going to just put a clause here saying you cannot pick one of the tracks you've made for one part of this question.
Okay.
So for the game of NR 2003, what is your favorite mod, favorite track, favorite league to race at? Can't say MOT. No, I'm just kidding. You can if you want. And your favorite physics type. And you can answer that in any order.
Physics is Cup for sure. Um, I've tried so hard to get Mott to run more Cup, but it's fine. CTS is fun too. But yeah, Cup for sure. Man, I really like old Atlanta. Like Atlanta BR is super fun for tracks wise. And then obviously Mott is very fun. But I know people give it a lot of shit, and rightfully so. But I just find Maverick to be very fun. Like you get through the first 50 laps or so, and you kind of deal with the carnage. But and part of it's that I've kind of helped Keith make the tracks, but just the way he has them set up for like higher tire wear, there's no stages, you just race through. I just find it really fun to just kind of go. Like Bristol this last week was like a super fun race. Like just the tires, you can make like 35 laps. You got to save a little bit, but you can make 35 laps is all, and it's pretty fun. And I forgot the fourth part.
Mod.
Those Cup 90 cars, I just like the way they look. I've been trying to get people to do the Stadium Super Truck mod, but it's
Ooh,
not the
yeah.
best. Not the best mod. Has no rear view mirrors. The main reason I want
There's
to
a
do it. 'Cause
fix for that.
Oh, there is. Oh,
There's
nice.
someone made a fix for that when it came out, but I think it's
Oh,
been a
okay.
little lost to time.
Yeah,
There was
but I found.
no gauges for that one either.
Oh yeah, I don't think so. But and then the like templates are there's no shading on them, so it's just just driving a block. But I'm like, this is awesome. But I've never raced that in a league. But Cup 90, Cup 98, people like a lot too. But just something about the Cup 90, the way it looks.
Right
I
on.
like that quite a bit. So
All right, so what got you into track building?
um, I can't remember. Can't remember when it started, but like just downloading the stuff for NR 2003. I think there was like I like had scrolled to the bottom of the pits US or something like that, like just making sure I wasn't missing anything. And there's like the Sandbox, and I was like, what is this? And it's like, oh, you can make your own tracks. And I've always played like Sim City and Zoo Tycoon and those kind of games where you Roller Coaster Tycoon, where it's like you kind of build your own little world. It's just, I don't know, I find them pretty enjoyable. So, um, and then it's one for racing, which I'm like, oh, that's awesome. So I spent way too much time trying to find videos. Um, my wife actually yelled at me. I found, I think it was Project Short Track, and the guy like he had a lot of good information, but he kind of like his voice was kind of just monotone a little bit, and she would just be doing her stuff and just hear in the background. She's like, "Can you turn this off, or can this guy get excited?" I was like, "Well, he's telling me how to do stuff. That's fine." But I started to do that, and I would just make kind of mess around with it. You know, add crazy banking to tracks or make my own tracks, and they weren't super refined, and I didn't really know how to 3D model, so I would just take stuff from the original papyrus tracks and try to make it fit. So that's why a lot of my tracks are kind of bare, because those are early ones, and I never went back to fix them. But
Mm-hmm.
I've gotten a little better at that now, of at least making like buildings or something to be there. But yeah, it's just something I found. I was like, oh, I like making stuff, and then you get into it more, and then Randall, well, MOT, they kind of, I said, oh, I mess with tracks sometimes, so I open them up and add some different grip lanes, just to make them race a little bit better, where you can actually like have 2x2 racing, and it's not just get to the bottom and don't slip up. And then Randall for Area 23 heard about it, so then he started to have me add some different decals and some different stuff to the track, and that's where I've learned a lot of it, because he's sent me like really nice tracks. And I actually started to like look around and like pay attention to how these guys who knew what they were doing laid them out. And I was like, oh, that's what they did. And then just sometimes messing stuff up, you find out like all the different things you can do. And now I've used it enough. I'm like, I feel like I'm pretty good at this. Can do stuff pretty quick. I can lay out a track. Probably takes me like 30 minutes just to lay it out. The banking's the hardest thing, because you can do about 3 minutes of work before it wants to crash your computer for
Oh,
whatever reason.
jeez.
Yeah. It's like when you like move the mouse and you see it like stutter a little bit. It's like just save it and get out of there. You don't have many more or much more time, but it's a finicky little program.
Yeah, I think Apollo was working on a track and he hadn't saved it for like several hours
Ooh.
and it crashed and he was like, "Well, that track's never going to be a thing cuz he didn't want to go
Yep.
through all the work again."
I've had a few of those. That's how I learned. I'm just gonna save way more often, because you get sucked into it. You like get a lot done. You're adding all this stuff. The worst is when you go to save it and it like pauses and then it closes and you're like, I think it saved, and then you look at the file size and it says 0 KB.
Oh,
No.
man.
But now how I do it is like if it's Atlanta or something, so I'll open it up, add some edits, and then when I save it, I do Atlanta_1, and then get back. Like if I get back into it and change stuff, I'll do _2. I just keep going up with numbers just to
Yep.
like, if it crashes, at least I have a backup.
Nice. Yeah, that's a good way to do it.
Yeah.
Um I remember you sent me, I don't know if it was like your what number track it was, but I remember back when I first got to know you, you sent me a Road Atlanta work in progress that you were doing.
Oh yes. Yeah.
Um, whatever became of that track?
So you said the geometry was weird, and I think it's because I thought I'd be fun. You can mess with the heights, and I made it the actual. I had found a topography map of the track,
Yeah.
and it's like 800 meters above sea level or something. So, so I made the track 800 meters above like the ground in NR, but NR isn't built for that. So like all the scenery was 800 meters below the track. So that there's like clipping issues and stuff.
Yeah, I
Uh,
remember the car would sink into the track in some areas. Yeah, and I was
yeah,
like, "What is this shit?"
Yeah, yeah. So I lowered it and it fixed most of that, I believe. And I don't know. Mott doesn't run road courses, which
Shame.
I kind of like, but sometimes I'm like, and then
Well,
I cannot.
we did run the Glen with the bump and run,
Oh yeah, yeah. So that's like as far as Keith will go because the Glen only has like one or two slow corners,
and that
especially with that. But
weird Sonoma short track we ran.
yep, yeah, that was one of my like. A lot of times I'll just hear someone say like, "Oh, make the banked Watkins Glen or something." I'm like,
Oh my God, there is
that
one.
sounds fun. Yeah, yeah. After I made my terrible one, I saw that someone already made it. I was like, great, I can give up on this because this is awful. But someone's like, said something about Sonoma, and I made that, and I was like, actually kind of fun. And you still get that one hairpin turn that's kind of like a road course, so it's kind of fun. Counts, but
Yeah.
yeah, I have that road Atlanta. I've tried to convince Ben to use it for Maverick instead of some of the other tracks that I think will be Wreckfest, but NASCAR doesn't run Road America or Road Atlanta, so we won't do it. But I think
Dang.
it's I think it's pretty good. I race it against the AI every once in a while. The only issue I have is I made the garages like the real track has, and maybe I just have to go back and look at it again. But they like clip through each other because it's like a
Mm.
big 3DO, and I'm like, how do I get it to not do that? But I think it's just something with my faces or like in the actual 3DO are probably messed up because I made that early on when I started doing 3D models when I just kind of knew what I was doing.
Will
But
you
yeah,
ever?
it's oh sorry, what?
No, you can go first.
I was gonna say yeah, it's just sitting there. I think it's good to race. The other part is I like to have other people race on my tracks just because I test a lot of stuff, but I every time real people race on it, they always find a line or an area that I just never thought to check or
Mm.
the way I drive it wasn't the real or like you can cheese it if you like if you can hook a curb or something like that. So I'm like get more stuff out there and see they almost never like crash or do anything weird on my screen or maybe I just don't pay attention to it. So
Yeah.
just have other people and be like something's weird here and it's like oh now that I'm looking for it now I can find it. But
Well, I know there are a lot of road courses on NR that have weird like X sections or stuff like that, where
yeah,
like I think Tyler was talking about it Sunday at Fast because Portland 23 kept crashing on me between a few turns, and I was like, well, what's over here? There's nothing over here like visually, like it's just randomly crashing, and I ended up having to turn my drawing distance way down. I turned the world quality down, and I made it through the whole race and was able to win. But
interesting.
Tyler loaded it up, and he was like, "Oh yeah, all these X sections are botched." Like, and
Hmm.
we obviously didn't know if, well, were they botched on Project Wildfire's version of this track, since I believe that was used as the base,
I'm
or
pretty sure, yeah.
did Alex, because that track was an Alex track, I think, did Alex do this and he didn't correct it or something, you know? But like, I guess it's like a common thing, like on a lot of tracks for those lines to like start and then they don't end, and then it can cause game problems and stuff like that. Um, I was gonna ask, will you ever learn to make TV cameras?
Learn, yes, I know how. I just never take the time to do it.
I think
And I always mean to, and I always forget.
when we did when I did Kentucky for the season 12 finale and I booted up and I remembered
Oh
from
yeah.
season 11, I was like, "Oh yeah, this track doesn't have fucking camera files." I was like, "Shit." I was like, "Well, I'm looking at it and I'm like, I don't know if Tate used it or not, but this looks like it was maybe based off the Smithston track geometry. So we'll see if that works." And it worked pretty well. I think the start finish line camera was off center, but I didn't care too much about that. It was the cameras worked great otherwise. So,
Nice.
but
Yeah, I think Smithton does the same. So I'll go into like Google Earth, take a screenshot of the track, and then on Google Earth measure like horizontal from some point to some point, and then vertical, and then just try to match those measurements on NR to try to get the track like as close to the real size as possible.
Yeah, I think
I think
Smithston does
Smithson,
that. Yeah, because
yeah. So,
if you go to if you download a Smithston Watkins Glen and then you compare it to say NR Track Designs last Watkins Glen, the way the front straightaway is like completely different. Like NRTD, you go through the final corner and you go up a little bit of a hill and then you go down after the line. Smithston, you come off the last corner and you're like almost immediately going down.
oh yeah,
And then the S's is like vastly different too. And the bus stop geometry is a big one.
yeah. I know. Mavericks plan running Chicagoland next year, so I opened up Game Chicagoland just to see. I was like, I wonder how close it is, and I think turns 1 and 2 and half the backstretch is pretty close, and then it's like 3 and 4 is like way smaller, and then the front stretch was off or something. It's like,
Huh.
I mean, it's pretty good for them. I same with like Darlington, turns 3 and 4. I think are the radius I think is a little bit bigger. Because I looked at that one too, because I was like, are all NR tracks like this? But they nailed Bristol, so I'm like, maybe they did this, or maybe they're just guessing. But
I
some of them are like
think
really close, and some of them are off.
I think the big thing that like I think even Malin said that he had problems with is and I think he fixed Atlanta. He made a version. He went into Atlanta and he removed like those weird transitions that you got like going into corners and coming off the corners. Like
Oh yeah,
there are some tracks where like you go into the corner and you're driving up like a hill before you go down into the corner, or you like at Atlanta you come off a turn two and you like go up a little hill and then go down a little hill, and it's like, well,
yeah,
that's not a thing in real life. Like, why is that there? So maybe that was like little things they had to do to make the geometry line up correctly. I don't know, but Malin did make an Atlanta. I think I don't know if he still has it, but he made an Atlanta where he fixed the transitions. There's a few tracks like that. I think New Hampshire might be one of them. I don't remember. I think New Hampshire has like a weird little mound off of 2 or 4, maybe both. I just ran it Thursday. You'd think I'd remember, but
there's a lot of stuff like that, but Sandbox can be finicky sometimes.
so what would you say your favorite track is, either built from the ground up or like a grip lane edit that you've done? Because I've raced at MLT a good bit now for the last year or so, and a lot of the 2 lane tracks are really fun. Especially Kentucky, Michigan's a blast, California is a blast. Um, did I say Michigan?
Yeah, you said Michigan.
Homestead too. Even though I
Oh yeah,
prefer the 3 groove version of that track, the 2 groove is still just as fun.
yeah. Recency bias, but right now it's the Bristol we ran at Maverick, just because it was so fun. Because the tire wear was pumped all the way up, so I was like, Keith tried to make it like the real race. He said, so you kind of take it easy, and you could stretch it to like 35, maybe 36 laps, and then your tires were you won't lose too much speed, but they'd get red and pop pretty quick. But overall, I really like Kansas. Um,
Oh yeah,
the
Kansas. That's
edit,
another good one.
yeah, the edit that I did, we ran at Maverick, and I probably like it just a little bit because um, it's got some like tire wear, and at Maverick you don't have cautions, so it's like you gotta manage your stuff. But I like the tracks where you can like move around. Um, so all the like Michigan's super fun. Um, Sometimes I wish we had to lift a little bit, but that's just because I burned my right front off trying to like go too fast early in the run. But it's so fun to just send it high. But it's probably be that the Kansas, not just because I edited it, but also just because I think it races really good. Um, there's like 2 lanes for sure, kind of a third depending on how you run it, and then with the tire wear and stuff, it's not just a go all out. You kind of have to manage it a little bit. So
Yeah. Um.
it used to be Atlanta, but then they changed Atlanta, and I'll never forgive them for it,
Yeah.
even though it puts
Same.
on fun races.
Yeah. No. Absolutely same. Have you got to meet anybody from the community in real life?
We went on a family vacation in Tennessee, so I actually met Keith. We met up quick and did some go-karting, and it was just the slow ones, which was disappointing that,
Hmm.
like the family fun centers or whatever that go maybe 20 miles an hour, but it's still fun. So
Yeah.
we we had one kid that joined us one race, and he was like, he would just turn into you on the straightaways and like he'd be getting pissed. And Keith and I were laughing after the race. We're like, we gotta get that kid on NR. He'd fit in perfect for. It's just if you bumped him, he'd like turn around, like throw his hand up at you, and then he'd swerve at you or whatever. Like, dude, there's three of us on the track. You gotta calm down. But yeah, I met Keith, and then Chad and I have been friends since high school. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, and that's kind of how he'd want to play Call of Duty, and I'd be like, I'm racing. He's like, stream it. So I'd stream my POV a little bit, and he'd be in the chat and kind of talking. And then I finally convinced him to get the game, and he got hooked a little bit. And then every time he races, he's like, I hate this game. I'm never playing again. Like just because he's competitive, and someone will wreck him or something.
What was it? Was it Sierra pissed him off in SummerSlam?
Yeah, yeah. Because Sierra would just like all these cars would pass, and Sierra would just target. I don't know if it was on purpose or not, or just because like Sierra started doing it to me, where every time I was around him, he would turn into me and wreck me. It's like, all right, like you can hit other people too, but I'm fine with this. I will throw away my race to start this battle with you. But I think he got me good at Charlotte Legends track or something.
Yes.
I I think I had wrecked him a few times, and I was like, I don't think he can get to me. And like, 'cause I think I was like leading or something, and he came from so far back, just obliterated me. I was like, all right, you win this one. I did not see that coming, but yeah, he made Chad quit that because Chad gets tired of getting wrecked. So
Chad Chad showed up one night and he saw Sierra's name in TeamSpeak and he immediately left, and that was the end of
yeah,
Chad in SummerSlam. He was just like,
yeah.
"Nope, no, I'm not doing it."
It was so funny because I think Sierra stopped coming after that too, but or was busy or something. But yeah, Chad likes like actual racing, like race people hard and like maybe dorm a little bit,
Hmm.
but just racing hard. So when it went more to a rec fest, do whatever you want, he kind of was like, I don't want to race like that. Like that's not very fun for me. It's like it's pretty fun. Not gonna lie. Until you look at the end, you're finish ninth, 8 laps down because you blew your engine. But I'm like, but I had fun, so it was the real winner.
Yeah, I think I like that there's like moderate damage, but I feel like that EXE was built off like the original EXE, so the net code's a lot more
Oh yeah,
abrupt and weird and direct. Like if we could take that and like use Malin's EXE as a base, I think it'd be a lot more fun.
yeah,
I don't think you'd have people getting as much netcode damage because there was one race where like I didn't even hit Adam that hard and my car was junk and I was like, what the hell? I was like, I got that much damage from that? Like that's crazy. So yeah, I think that'd be cool if we could find a way to rebuild it off the Malin EXE so we could save on netcode and stuff like that. That'd be cool.
yeah,
Um, and then you could actually probably like slam guys a little bit more without them just absolutely getting dumped too, which would make it I think all the more fun. I also think it'd be fun to have a few races with no damage just to amplify the chaos.
yep,
So then like, you know, instead of being, oh, you're like severely engine damaged and you're like LePaging someone, you're just 5 laps down. I still got
yep.
clean car.
Yeah, everyone is always so concerned that you say no damage, and then everyone's just gonna go crazy because like, oh, it doesn't matter. But I'm like, I feel like you still have penalties or whatever. I feel like most people, like we've done no damage for the truck series at super speedways now, just because one guy makes a mistake and then you get junked in it, kind of sucks. So, and that's worked out good. I haven't really noticed more wrecking. Um, I think at Madrid we had a bunch of wrecks, but I think we have a bunch of wrecks anyway because we had like 20 people show up, and
Mm.
it's like it's just a track where you can. The bottom's definitely the best, but you can kind of use all three grooves. And some people just, even though they're fine, once they get three wide, they just you just see their car like little left, little right, way left, way right. It's like stop, just go straight. You're wiggling, but they just get too concerned, like, oh, I'm gonna hit them, oh, I'm gonna hit them. But so we had a lot of wrecks there. Um, but we talked about it, like I think we would have had those wrecks anyway. I don't think it was like a no damage thing. It was just a track thing. Because I like no damage, but like I said, everyone is always like no, because then people take advantage of it and they'll just drive stupid and wreck people because they know it has no consequence. So like, I kind of get, but I feel like the benefit of no damage would be better sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, the first no damage race I ran was a Daytona special event, and I think it was a 160 lap race, and we had like 30 something fucking cautions, and no one ever got really parked, so it was just chaos the whole night.
Yeah, that'd be the problem if you're not parking people. Although, like just for Keith, because it is a terrible idea, but I've been like, we should do Maverick with no damage.
Oh, God.
Just because the thing that makes Maverick really fun at the end of the race is some of the people who caused wrecks get their car destroyed early in the race, and then they can't race anymore, and then we don't have any more cautions. But like, just do no damage. It'll be fun, but it would it would be so bad.
Oh, yeah, that would probably push a lot of the few older guys you sometimes see show up that they would stop showing up entirely.
Oh yeah.
Um, okay, so eggs in and out of NR. This is the exit topic. It's music, movies, TV shows, etc. Doesn't have to be those main three. It can be basically any other interest outside of motorsports that you are
Um,
interested in.
Basically all sports. I like football a lot. Go Big Red. Got a big game against Michigan tomorrow. So obviously I'm in Nebraska if people don't know. So go Nebraska. Um, but yeah, I like football a lot, baseball, um, basically any sport. I watch football the most. I play some fantasy football leagues um, with some buddies. So those are always fun. Kind of frustrating because I don't watch NFL as much because I like racing more than football. So I'll watch NASCAR and skip a bunch of games, and then I'm like, I don't actually know who's good and who's not. But and then my buddy Chad likes Call of Duty, so he's convinced me to play Call of Duty with him a lot. So I've been playing that fairly often for about a year now. I'm not great at it, but it is kind of fun. Um,
Yeah, I never got into
that's
Call of Duty. I was trash. I'd go over to
yeah.
my cousins when I was a kid growing up. He'd be like, "Oh, we can play Call of Duty." I'd like never really played Call of Duty like against somebody else. I had played like
Oh yeah.
Medal of Honor on the PS2. It was pretty fun, but I could only get through certain levels because I didn't really have a clue what I was doing. Like I would just like run out and start shooting, and I never knew to like cover or anything like
Oh
strategic
yep.
like that. So
Yep.
plus I was like only 10, 11, so I didn't really have all my like reflexes and then eye coordination yet. So, but my cousin was like a year and a half older than me, and he was like so used to playing it. But we would go to like whatever the popular map was on Modern Warfare 3 and 1v1. I think it was like Quarry or something like that, and
Oh okay.
he would just kick my ass. I think I only killed him ever like once or twice. It was mostly
Nice.
him just beating up on me.
Yeah, that's the nice thing about playing with Chad is he's really good. So we just go in, and I can start fights and then run away, and then he'll just go in there and kill a bunch of people because he's pretty good at it. So But yeah, I watch a lot of sports. Um, doesn't matter too much what it is as long as it's a sport. I just enjoy watching people compete. But then I like music. Like at work, I work outside, so most days I can put a headphone in and listen to music or podcast most of the day, which is nice. So
There you go. That's good.
yeah.
I'm torn. I with music and work, I used to always listen to music at work. But then I found it doesn't help my anxiety as much when I'm working.
Oh, yeah. That'll get you.
So it was arguably getting me in trouble sometimes. So then I started working without music and I got used to it. At first it was hard, and then I got used to it and I was like, this ain't so bad. Like, I'll just look at my phone instead. Instead of listening to music to pass the time.
Yep.
Um so yeah, then I just end up looking at my phone. But like, yeah, I feel like I've noticed lately like I can kind of have a little bit of sensory overload. So like unless I'm in like a completely relaxed state, like bomb squad's like the one night of the week where I've been listening to music while racing, but otherwise like I have music off cuz if it's like the fuel team speak, there's a lot of different voices that could talk, or the MOT, there's like a lot of different voices that could talk, and sometimes it can get a little crazy. So
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, not having that little extra thing of music in my ears is a good thing because like at that point I'm just trying to like process all the people talking.
Yeah, I can't do music and gaming. I don't know how people can, but especially music and racing, I'm like, got to hear the car, otherwise I can't drive good. I don't know. It shouldn't affect me so much, but I'm like, but I guess some people are like that with the race chatter. That doesn't get me too, but sometimes it's pretty annoying. But
Yeah. Yeah, there are a few people at Fuel that I totally get it too. Like they need very minimal chatter so they can concentrate and focus and not lose their minds over
yeah,
people just talking about gibberish. But I grew up in the community in leagues where it was normal to just be shooting shit the whole race, even if it wasn't like if even if it was just over a whisper. And like
yeah,
I've done that with people too. Like at Fast, I'm probably the one on the whisper button the most, talking to Randall and Jeff and Josh and whoever else might show up that's on my button. Like I'm
yep,
talking to people the most. Like when Ryzen and Sal raced the super speedways, like I was on that button to them like the whole race. I'll talk to Charles and Sal a lot at MOT. Like I've just gotten used to. There was a time where I didn't like the noise too, as far as talking went, but I've gotten so used to it, that like I can at least handle that much. I just need to not have music playing too, and I'm good. But there are people where like they can't. They need it. They like it to be quiet unless it's like regarding an incident, and even then I think they're like, please hurry up and shut up so I can focus.
yep. Yeah, it's always feel bad, but sometimes it is funny when people are just going off because it just escalates. Just people, how people are, but you just hear it escalate. You just hear the one person kind of like, guys, guys, like slowly getting more and more angry. It's like, oh, this will be fun.
Yeah, not gonna lie, that's usually me opening my mouth, causing somebody to
Yep,
go like, "Come on, Zach, please don't. Come on, don't do it."
yep, yep.
I don't care what he says. I was ahead at the time of caution, even if it wasn't explicitly out. But um, I just laugh about it now. I'm not mad about that at all anymore. It's like a lot of it's dumb, a lot of it's dumb, and then you look back and you're like, yeah, that was dumb, and you laugh about it. So,
Yep.
but all right, Tate, I think that pretty much wraps up this episode. Unless you had anything else you were maybe looking to talk about? Make me ask you something about. Otherwise, I think I covered it all. I know when I had Randall on, I think I totally forgot to ask him about Area 23 stuff. I think we might have talked a little about Area 23 stuff, but there was somebody recent that I had on, and I was like, "Oh, I totally should have talked to you about this," and I just totally forgot to. So, wanted to make sure we talked about your track making.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I think we got everything. So
All right, well, floor is yours. If you've got anybody you'd like to shout out, go ahead.
yeah, just shout out to my wife and kids. They're pretty great. I like them. So wife lets me race probably way too often. Now it's multiple nights a week, but she's a good sport about it. So yeah, that's all I got. Shout out to all the leagues I'm in. I'm not gonna name them. You guys can just guess whichever league you like. That's and like and subscribe.
Oh,
Better say
thanks.
that. Gotta get that in there. Gotta be a good YouTuber. Like and subscribe.
Oh man. Yeah, I guess it works. I mean, if you say I think it works best if you say it at the beginning. You can't say it at the
Yeah.
end.
Well, yeah. Just dub in the beginning and then they have one at the end to remember again.
Yeah. Make sure if you enjoyed it, you like it, subscribe. It's funny though, like to talk about it really quickly. There used to be offline league videos that I would do or a buddy would do, and just to like help support the video, I would put in Premiere Chat like, make sure you guys like the video if you enjoy. And next thing you know, like 5 people who didn't like the video yet will like the video on command. And it's like
Nice.
people just need that little bit to remind them to like click like if they're enjoying the video. Like a lot of times they don't
Yeah.
click like. I used to do that. I used to never click the like button. Now I just click it all the time. Like if I click on it to watch it, I usually click the like button first out of habit.
Yep. That's a good way to do it.
But alrighty, Tate, thank you for joining me. This was episode 22 of Who's That Driver. I'm not quite sure what we'll title this one yet. I'll have to probably go through. I'll probably edit. I usually edit the same night, but I might just do it tomorrow. And see if I think of something for the title then. It'll probably be out Sunday.
Nice. All right. I look forward to it.
All right, and thank all of you listeners out there for listening and supporting Who's That Driver. Hopefully next week, if Keith ever gets back to me, I don't know if he passed out early tonight or what. But hopefully if Keith gets back to me, we can have Keith on next. And if not, we'll see who we get. But anyways,
Nice.
I'm out. See y'all next time.